Welcome to the IDP Hunter Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Steve Hungard, IDP Hunter. Hey guys, this is our finale show, and on that note, we got a little bit of exciting news. In the Fantasy Pros ECR Leadership Board, I'm currently ranked third for IDP. I'm 12 points away from number 2. Hopefully, this last stretch is good to us. If you have questions about your teams, we're just going to do an overall mailbag show. Just go ahead and leave them here. Jamie, what's going on, dude? What's the news for you? And who's this handsome gentleman that's joining us?
Oh, today's guest is one of the sharpest minds in the game. You know him as BigZ, Brendan Booth at Big Boned FFB on X. He is a big voice in the fantasy football community, and for good reason. BigZ is the host of the Dynasty Pulse alongside of Mike Lindbergh, a.k.a. Grindberg. They give player values, trades, rookies, all data-driven and actionable advice. He's the man over at the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. Go check him out. And if you're plugged into the Player Profiler, you've definitely seen him there too. I catch his shows all the time, trying my best to annoy him in the live chats. So come check us out. He's constantly dropping info that just sharpens your game as a fantasy player. Why do you think I win so much? He gives advanced metrics with practical advice and just enough humor to remind us all that fantasy football is supposed to be fun. I'll just say it now. The reason I've gotten so much Jackson Dart on my dynasty rosters is entirely this man's influence. I like to refer to him as the breakfast behemoth, the big boned barbarian. Let's give it up for my man, BigZ. Welcome to the show.
I got to wipe all this glaze off my face. That was a hell of an intro. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie and I have been corresponding for a couple of years now since I started up Player Profiler. And he is kind of tagged along to all the shows on the Undroppables, on Fantasy Sports Advice Network. He's always in the comments, always in the live streams. And just a pleasure to have met him a couple times at the Expo. Came on my show, did on my Raiders show, did Raiders versus Browns, the Toilet Bowl. So, yeah, happy to be here and good to meet Steve, too.
On that note, we've already met before, and I need to tell this story. Oh, by the way, you're already getting compliments. Here's some more glaze for you.
And I do want to shout out my boy Mace. He's one of the good dudes up here in Northern California, hanging out at the Fishbowl. And shout out to Bo McBrayer, too. And Rhino, like all my NorCal boys. Let's go.
Bo big time, baby.
Gentlemen, like I said, we're going to do a mailbox episode. So if you have questions, Dynasty or rest of season, just put them in the chat. We'll answer them as we go. I got a couple from the actual IDP Center for BigZ to answer to. And we're going to talk a little bit about just some mock drafting in general. But BigZ, we've already met before. I need to get this story off my chest.
Yeah.
This was my first year ever doing Scott Fishbowl. Jamie did a great job, a great friend. He showed me how to register because it's a bit of a pain in the neck, at least to me, trying to register, trying to set up, all this stuff. So I finally get into the Scott Fishbowl, and we're in what are we in, the Cleveland Guardian League, Jamie?
Yes, Cleveland Indians.
And as soon as I get there, it's a bit overwhelming. And there's a strategy because every year you hear people talk about it and hype it up. Jamie just closed me off. He left me on red. Didn't want to help me at all, did you, Jamie?
Because you're in my league. I'm playing against you, man. I would have helped you if you were in another
league. See how
league.
my friend is? And every time I'd ask him questions, BigZ, he'd give me like a Mr. Miyagi question, like, your settings are what they are. Wax on, wax off. I said, bump this. I went on the internet. I found YouTube. Jamie's on a couple podcasts, so, I'm taking notes of strategy. But I found you out of nowhere. And you were so articulate with your strategies and your helping. I pretty much took your strategy concept, which was everything's a flex, go tight end. I built a massive team. I had some injuries on the way, but, I had like George Kittle. I had Trey McBride. I had a roster. I ended up making the playoffs my first year ever playing Scott Fishbowl. Made it through round 1, made it through round 2. I missed it by 70 points, I think, round 3. And I credit that to you, not Jamie. And the funny story is I always wanted to meet you, and I was hoping because this is my third year going to the expo. Every time me and Jamie go, we always got stories, by the way. And I was hoping to meet you. And I guess the power of, manifesting the positive info, I bumped into you down in Canton. You don't remember that story, though, do you?
No. There's a lot about Friday night that I do not remember.
So my friend AJ, who was supposed to be my DD, left me with JJ Winter to rescue you because you were on the street corner just sitting there. I remembered you from your YouTube video, and Jamie came up to you. Y'all were talking about podcasting, but I jumped in. I'm like, this is the guy that helped me with my fantasy league. We talked for 20 minutes. AJ thought I was drunk in the street. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm just trying to talk to this guy. I knew you weren't going to remember it, but like I said, this is great about this community. You leave positive imprints on people that you don't even know you talk to,
Yeah. No, I remember hanging out with Chuck Bass on the corner. And I think Mike Florio was there. And then I remember being on the phone with Greinberg, trying to get back to the pad and getting an Uber ride. And I remember the wind because I had the window open and the Uber ride. And then the next thing I know, I'm crashing down the stairs through a closet door, completely tore up my legs, sprained my neck.
I'm laughing with you, Biggs.
I slide down the stairs, feet first into the closet door, destroyed the closet door. That cost me $300. I look over and Greinberg's brother-in-law is asleep on the couch. I'm fully naked. And I just kind of got back up and went back up the stairs and went to bed and canceled the rest of my Canton activities for the weekend.
Yeah, I didn't see the rest of the trip, man. I was looking for you.
Friday night was, we were at that one grill across the street from the park, and 2 fisted martinis is not really a great idea.
So, Mace, if you're still in the chat, you have to get to the expo some way, somehow. I was going to be his designated driver. I was going to pick Mace up from the airport, but he couldn't come this year. But it's so funny how this community's evolved, and we got all these people out there. Yeah, me and JJ, we just drank on, and I heard your voice out there, and I thought maybe you needed help. But yeah, you and Jamie were talking about what the Raiders quarterback, was that what it was, Jamie?
Probably the tight end, because we love tight ends.
Tight ends, yeah. But yeah, you guys were so funny to be around. Like I said, you have a knack for drafts, sir. And like I said, we're in this tournament right now. Matt Kelly is running. I don't know if you've heard about it, but his tournament right now, it's weekly. You can play 5 players regardless of the position, and it's really fun to do.
Fast draft. For everyone listening, it's fast draft.
Yeah, you got to go to fast.
I was part of the fast draft beta, getting the site up and running and all of that stuff, promoting it on all of my player profiler shows and everything. So I was a very early adopter of fast draft in 2024.
Yeah, the new one, because I was doing the IDP, but I'm on the offense. The Quick 6 Super Slam is where it's exciting right now. You put $10 in, and all you got to do is win your week. I won $150 last week. Didn't even know what I was doing. Now, when you go on it, I was going to try to pull one up for the show, but it's hard to do. It's a mobile app. But when you go on it, it actually doesn't have it by ADP. It goes by the most popular players. So I'm trying to kind of pick you guys' brains before we get started. To pick your guys' brains. The scoring on this thing, it's 1 point of reception, 0.1 yards, rushing yards 0.1, passing yards 0.4. Touchdowns are 6 everywhere. A passing touchdown's 4. But it's weird because you're just going off flex players. Is there a certain strategy I should be working when it comes to leagues like this?
Best player available, but Biggs, I'm sure you have something to say.
So I don't play a whole lot of DFS. I did a lot of the best ball stuff over the course of the off season. But I did, because you mentioned it, did go in. I put together a frenzy turbo mode.
Sweet.
One of the great things about fast draft is that if you want to draft in the draft room, you go in there and there's a 20-second clock on everybody. So you're not sitting there waiting for a 2-minute timer or anything like that. It goes. So you need to be on your toes. You need to be ready. You can't be distracted. It's not a slow draft. but you can also batch. So essentially what you do is you go in and you put in however many teams you want to buy. So I had $25 in there. I threw in 5 teams on the $5 game. And then I went through and I adjusted the rankings based on how I would draft. There were some guys who I don't think are going to be playing this weekend. So I clicked on the little number to the left of them and ranked them at 387 to get them off of my draft board. Went down to the ADP where it cuts off the number of players drafted total, and popped some people who were under the line into the draft. So like Jaden Higgins is going to be in that those rankings for me for this week. A couple other guys. And drop some guys out like Drake London. I don't think he's going to be playing. If he does, what's he going to do? That kind of thing. So basically that was the turbo mode. When I'm in the draft room, it's basically you're looking at, you want to treat it the way you would do like a starts and sits show. You're going with who's going to be handling the ball the most, who's going to be getting the most carries, who's going to be getting the most targets on their team. And, so you can have a team, if you can draft it that way, with Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, Aronde Gadsden, and Saquon Barkley, and just crush it from there.
Sweet. So because I took a lot of just common players, I know they're going to get the touches. I knew Barkley was going to get touches. I knew Young was going to get the touches. So do you have a preference? Like, would you favor running back or wide receiver in these kind of things?
I favor wide receiver simply because they have more of the touchdown upside across the board. But I also like running backs because, if you can find somebody who's going to get 25 to 30 touches, then there are more possibilities for a play to break.
Yeah, and I wanted to get into that a little bit later with the wide receiver versus running backs, but let's answer some of these chat questions that we have.
Okay.
We have BigZ on screen right now, one of the best minds in the game.
All right, we got the first one from Level Up Lord 33. He's asking start Dowdle, Javonte Williams, Chase Brown, or Jalen Warren.
This is a stacked roster right here. If you're choosing between these guys.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for starts and sits. Hang on a second.
So I'm just gonna say off the top of my head, I'm gonna go Javonte Williams because they're going against Detroit. Detroit, they're gonna put up points. So Javonte Williams is the main guy in Dallas. So I love them all. Don't get me wrong.
I'm definitely starting Chase Brown.
Chase Brown. Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
Where do you have him ranked? Because
Dowdle has a bye.
Oh, well, then there you go. Yeah, you can't.
And so after Gainwell last week, I'm not 100% on.
You're right. So I don't have my rankings completely set, but I just looked on Player Profiler, one of the best sites in this whole goddamn community. And they have Chase Brown at 5 overall for running backs. So I have to trust my Player Profiler crew. Shout out to Matt Kelly. Let's go Chase Brown. Top 5.
So
top 5.
Mike Greinberg and I we co-own a team in an Undroppables Shark League. Chalk is currently the leader. He literally wrote the Art of Dynasty, like the manual on how to do a startup draft and win for the next 4 years. So he's in the middle of doing that. We did the startup draft last year. Mike and I finished in last place, so we had the first pick in the draft. We wound up coming out of it with Scatabo, I think Genty and Shuck, like a couple of guys, right? So we go from last place. All of a sudden, we're on the cusp of the playoffs. A couple weeks later, we're in the 5th out of 6 seeds. And we start looking at the lineup, looking at our roster, going, okay, we got a hole at running back and a hole at wide receiver. We need to make some trades and get this playoff run going. And we identified Chase Brown as the big dude for the playoffs. He has great matchups the whole rest of the way through your fantasy playoffs. And we sent a first rounder, I want to say, Blake Corum, maybe it was a second, and Blake Corum, and got our Chase Brown in there. And so we're riding him all the way through the playoffs.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Love it.
You got a
Epic
bunch of
fail.
questions in here.
What's up?
let-
Infinite number of monkeys. My name is Jeff.
What's up,
What's
Infinite?
going on, Jeff?
Let's go with the wide receiver question. Pittman or Jackson, Devontae in versus the Chargers standard scoring. Standard scoring now. When's the last time you seen somebody say standard scoring?
I mean, I don't see how you can sit Devontae.
No.
I mean, is that the Devontae Adams or Devontae Smith? But either or.
I'm thinking it's Adams because it's
Adams. Okay.
Oh wait,
you have
no.
to start Adams.
Devontae against the Chargers. Chargers are playing Philly, so that's Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I'm still going Smith over Pittman, man, because I don't see how you can sit him. Like
I'm going
Adams.
Pittman.
Oh, how? I don't.
Okay, so Jacksonville is a plus matchup for wide receivers, and this is a rough running game against Jacksonville. So Jonathan Taylor will likely not be quite as effective. Pittman is the target guy in Indy, so he's going to be getting the balls. Devontae Smith is kind of a Saquon and AJ Brown are the leaders. Dallas Goedert gets some looks. Devontae Smith has some explosive plays, but Pittman is the guy who's going to get the majority of the volume.
I mean, I have them both in my top 20, so I like them both, but I would trust my man BigZ. He is the man to listen to.
There's your first mistake.
We have a kicker question, and this is interesting.
Yeah, I seen it. I was gonna
pull this up real
first.
quick.
Same dude. The Real ones, 1986.
I want to ask because
Dicker the kicker or McPherson?
Because
I have the same. You can have it.
I have this. I don't like kickers. I don't play with kickers, but I do love Dicker the kicker. And I want to ask: is this Matt Atkinson? Because I've seen this exact same question in my Facebook group that said Dicker the kicker or McPherson. Exactly the way it's written here.
I have a question. Who does McPherson play for?
Probably the Bengals.
He used to play for. Is he still in the Bengals? I don't even. That's how
but
bad
I'm going Dicker. I just love the name Dicker because you got the Dicker.
Oh, jeez.
It is a first round name. Okay, yeah, McPherson plays for Cincinnati. He's currently sitting as number 6.
I'm just going Dicker off the name.
I mean, it's kicker. You're not going to win or lose based on the kicker. McPherson has a higher implied point total. Vegas implied point total is higher for the Bengals against the Bills than Chargers against Philly. So I don't know. McPherson is kicker number 6. Dicker is kicker number 2. You're splitting hairs. Go with the higher volume McPherson.
I'm going with Dicker just because I love the name. But I would advise you to tell your commissioner to get rid of freaking kickers. Add an extra flex spot.
Are you the same way, BigZ? Because I personally, I'm an IDP guy. I'll play offensive lineman if I could. The more things that come to my nuances, the more things I can put in my leagues, the funner it is. I mean, I get it. It's sporadic, but hell, I don't mind having a kicker too. I don't have many leagues that do that anymore. I think I have.
Hey, why don't you add a center? Go add a punter.
I would if I could.
I go to PFF and play all 22. It's fantasy.
I did play in all 22. I got to play
every
I
position.
Center. I played offensive lineman. And what's awesome about all 22 is you could set your defense to a 3-4 or 4-3, and it's amazing.
You can play multiple running backs, but you draft all 22 positions. So you do start a center, 2 guards, 2 tackles every week. And also the offensive line or the defensive line. You can, like he said, you can do a 3-4 with 2 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends. You can do a 4-3 with just 1 3-tech guy. It is comprehensive. And I played the first year. I ranked everybody as I was drafting by the points that they had that would have been their points the previous year. and just bodied every league that I was in. And I didn't really do anything. I just kind of drafted like based on points, and it was super fun. I didn't play it again, but if you do want that comprehensive play, PFF All 22 is pretty fun.
We have another question by our original termite. Waddle, Michael Wilson, or Tesla.
There you go.
This one seems easy to me. Like, I love Waddle as like a top 15 wide receiver this week. Michael Wilson, I think you can sit him. He had a bad game last week, and I don't know if you could start him consistently with Marvin Harrison Jr. back. But I do love Tesla. I think Tesla can outscore all these guys, but I'm going with the safety of Waddle. What about you, Biggs?
I think I'm in the same boat. I was big on Isaac TeSlaa. We had on our player profiler show, I had I forgot his name. We had a host who's big in Debbie, and he came on the show with us, and I mentioned the name Isaac TeSlaa because I'm a Razorbacks fan, and he freaked out. Oh my God, I love him too. He had zero drops in college. He hasn't gotten the volume in Detroit that I wanted. He has gotten some red zone looks, but there's a guy that when Amon-Ra St. Brown went down, Detroit put another guy into the slot who out-targeted TeSlaa in that game. So I'm a little iffy on TeSlaa. Michael Wilson, he is fine, but I hate Stanford people.
So I was listening to JJ Zacharyson earlier, and JJ Zacharyson mentioned that TeSlaa ran like 94% of the routes.
Right.
And now that Amon-Ra is going to be out, he is going to play more on the outside. So I do like TeSlaa a lot, but I can't play him over Waddle.
Well, yeah, and the Waddle has a tough matchup against the Jets.
I mean, is it really that tough? Since they demolished their whole defense, they got rid of their top cornerback, right?
They were in the game last week because of their pass defense. But TeSlaa up against Dallas. Dallas has been better the last 3 weeks, but they still are the second best wide receiver matchup. I think I would rank those Waddle, TeSlaa, Wilson. But sometimes it's not analysis. Sometimes it's just I'm a Cal fan and I hate Stanford. So
Epic Fail has a question about CBs. I hate
what happened to the Jihad
CBs.
Campbell question? This is an IDP show.
Yeah, I'm going to get to it here. I promise I'm going to get to it.
Let's go to that one.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Seller hold.
So Infinite Number of Monkeys said Jeff's a very cool name. Just a transition question. I meant to ask you this before the show. Your Twitter handle is what? Humongous, right?
No. Okay. So my Twitter handle is at BigBonedFFB, Big Boned Fantasy Football. But you get to play around with like the changeable name.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to me one day, who among us, whomst humongous.
So when I was talking about you on your Scott Fishbowl, that's the handle you used. Jamie's like, who the hell are you talking about, BigZ? And I'm like, no. And he's like, what the hell's a humongous? So I wanted to ask you, so I might as well ask you this live. Mad Max. I used to watch Mad Max. Do you remember Lord Humongous, the guy with the hockey mask?
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe it's a play on Mad Max. I don't know.
No, it's just a play on who among us hasn't blah blah blah, right? And people like you saying whomst. So whomst, and I'm humongous. So whomst, humongous.
So on top of that, go check out BigZ's podcast because I created a song for him for his breakfast thing, and I said it in the intro what I like to call him. So go check that out.
Big Boned Barbarian.
Yep. So I'll transition to IDP, and these all kind of go together. That's why I've been kind of setting them up. Chris Lorenzo asks, what's a sneaky LB I could stream in the playoffs? I actually got 2 top 30-ish linebackers that you can get away with. Look at BigZ. I'm going to bust them out. Jamie leaves when I start talking. How should I feel about this? I'm just going to talk poorly about Jamie for 20 minutes.
I'm listening.
Oh, he's listening. Never mind. I'll stop. So there's two linebackers I want to talk about, okay? The first linebacker is Nakobe Dean of the Eagles. If you look, he came off of injury. It took him till week 7 to get back in, but he was getting modest snaps. And we know BigZ and IDP, snaps are everything. Say you have a better player than me. He's only playing 1 down and I'm playing 3. I have 3 times as likely of a chance to get a tackle. It's just basic math. It's basic math. I know people think like IDP players were Conan the Barbarian. No, we're just mathematicians. But if you look at week 7, he got 45% snaps. It started to ramp up, and it tells a story here. From 45 to 63 to 65 to 68. You ready for this? Week 12, 84% snaps. Finally, last week, 94% snaps. So if you're in a league that's shallow enough, you can pick up Dean right now and get every down play. And yeah, he had 12 tackles last week. So that's something you can gauge. That's something you could sustain upon. There's one more player that people don't think about because he's more of a journeyman. Eric Wilson, linebacker to Vikings. I got him in my top 30. He's only owned in 29, 30% of leagues. You got him somewhere out there, guys. You guys can take advantage of this. And I'm going to tell you, Eric Williams got some sweet matchups coming up. If you look at points against the position, he's got games coming up against the Commanders, which are ranked 12th against linebackers. Very kind. He's got a Cowboys one, but then after that, he's going up against the Giants. So he's got really good linebacker production. And if you just hold on to him and you wait it out, let's say your championship's week 17, he's got a matchup against the Lions. The Lions have been bleeding the 4th most tackles per game to linebackers, according to PFF. So those are players right there you can get super cheap that people aren't paying attention to. And I'll throw one more at you. Divine Diablo, owned in 21% of leagues. He's been back. He's been the starter. No question on that. So you could easily pick those guys up, just about play them everywhere. And I'll play those guys everywhere I can. I'm going to transition to Jeff's question. I'd rather call him Infinite Number of Monkeys. It's such a better name. Such a better name than Jeff. I'm sorry. You should change your birth name.
My name is Jeff.
Infinite Number of Monkeys. He's asking about Jihad Campbell. Is he a sell or a hold? Well, you heard what I just said about Dean. Somebody's got to pay the price because they're not going to get rid of Bond, right? So Jihad Campbell is droppable right now in redraft. He's droppable. Now, if you're in Dynasty, you had to get a top pick on him. You got to hold him. So that's how I play it. His snaps are not sustainable. Yeah, you got to get rid of him. If you're in a redraft, I don't know what you can sell him for. But if you're in a Dynasty, you hold on to him because the talent will overshow. BigZ, one of the articles that I write each year, Evergreen articles, I'm pretty proud of this. Everybody talks about age cliffs in offense. Nobody really talks about IDP.
Right.
It matters. Context matters. When you're looking at linebackers, those guys usually don't start day one as a rookie, unless you're Carson Schwessinger. I mean, you'd have to go back historically to Quay Walker at the Packers. And those guys struggle. So the prime age for a linebacker in Dynasty is 24 to 28. And they'll still give you good value, 29, 30. At 31, 32 at tapers, you got to debate if you want to sell them then. Right now, selling Campbell, you're not going to get any value in Dynasty. You hold him in your taxi, you wait for him to have peak value. So the kind of players that I like to trade now are the guys like the Alex Anzalone. You might be too late on that one. Guys like that. Eric Wilson, like I just said, if you're not playing him, he's probably not going to be the guy next year. How about Jermaine Pratt? Everybody loves Jermaine Pratt. You know what's special about Jermaine Pratt? He's a great run defender, terrible in coverage. Right now, he's schemed that way, and he had, 20 tackles? But if you go back and look at, week 7 and 8, when they had him out in coverage, he didn't get you anything. So to me, and this may be a hot take to people, he's matchup dependent, Pratt is. He's matchup dependent. I don't really value that because if he's not getting the prime role, and he may not with Carly's coming back. So those are the kind of players I trade. So you're going to hold Campbell if it's Dynasty. But, yeah, redraft, he's droppable. I think I had one more Dynasty, or not. I think I had one more. I had 2 more actually. Going a little slow here. Sorry, guys. They're asking me about a DL stream. Arden Keyes had a couple of good games, but he's also cooled off, and it's also the Titans or Chase Young. Chase Young is my guy. I'm not going to be ballsy and say if you're got one IDP spot, start him. But if you got two DL spots, you can go ahead and get away with Chase Young, only owned in 20% of IDP leagues. Chase Young is on a heater right now. Back-to-back sack games. He's averaging 73% of snaps. The sweet spot, as you guys know, is like 70%. BigZ, I don't know if you play in a lot of IDP leagues.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? So for
Yeah.
defensive linemen, 65%, 70% snaps is really good in that rotation. It's kind of like what Goldilocks, the mom and the bears. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. You don't want a guy with low snaps. You don't want a guy with high snaps, because if he's like 100%, you know, if you're not putting oil in the machine, in the engine, he may break down unless he's Myles Garrett. Even him right now, he's starting to break down. But 65, 70% usage is great. He's sitting at 73. His matchups are pretty darn good. So we're going to talk about week 14 and 15 for him. He's playing the Tampa Bay Bucks. And he's playing the Carolina Panthers, okay? Tampa Bay, 26 sacks on the year. That's average. It's not bad. It's not horrendous. It's not bad. It's not good. Panthers gave up 30. So that's roughly what is he getting? They're giving up 2.3 sacks per game. That's pretty darn good. That's a matchup for somebody with his skill set to exploit. The real upside on Chase Young for our playoffs comes at week 16 and 17 when you're in the middle of your playoffs. He's going to get the Titans. We all know the Titans are the most sack giveaway team with 48. Okay? Then it's off the championship weekend with the hapless Jets. The Jets, okay, they're middle of the pack, but when you look at pressure rates, they're dead last with 44.6%. So Chase Young is my guy there. Arden Key, I don't have starting. I don't have him starting too many places. Epic, what did you say? You said you got a good question at any top 30 LB. We should be out going into fantasy playoffs, especially if we have a bye.
You mentioned one earlier, Eric Wilson.
Yeah. That's who I got. Logan's here. He said, sorry, he's late. Sometimes BigZ, these guys talk in the chat to each other, so I'm trying to pick it up as I go.
I did want to circle back on that linebacker question. So snap count is huge, and game script adds to snap percentage, right? So if you have a terrible team like the Raiders and they can't sustain drives, you're going to want. When I was asked that question, I immediately went to my home league. It's an IDP league, and I have Bobby Alltraps, Robert Spillane, and he's got a bye this week, so I need to plug somebody in at linebacker. Well, I have Andrew Van Ginkel, he's got DL and LB. He can be put in both slots, but Devin White is sitting right there on the waiver wire. So I'm grabbing Devin White. He's got double-digit tackles in, I think, 3 of the last 5 games. And like moving on from Jermaine Pratt just solidified Devin White's role, and he's had a renaissance. The other guy that I'm looking at is Terrell Dodson from Miami. And he has double-digit tackles a couple weeks ago against Washington. But when you look at who they're going to be playing, the Jets, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, you want to see a team that's going to have the lead and be running the ball. And in all of those cases, his opponents are likely to be in that position. Same with Devin White. He's got Denver, Philly, Houston, and then the Giants. They're usually going to have the lead and be running the ball. So that's where you put your linebackers. You want high volume tackles. I'm picking up Devin White immediately.
You know, to ride BigZ's coattails, average snaps per game is about 67 for a defensive player. You know, so if you're getting high offensive pace, you're getting more defensive plays equals more tackle opportunity. But the same is true. A poor offense relates to a poor defense. So, you know, you can say, I got 100% snaps, but the guy only played 23 snaps. What are we doing? You know, so snaps and game script are everything. When you look at teams that are up in games, they're going to run the heck out of the ball. That linebacker is going to be in play a lot more. If you got teams that are incompetent, can't throw, your safeties are going to be in play a lot more. So you got to kind of take a look at all that. What kind of leagues do you play in, BigZ? Do you play in like big IDP leagues or mix?
I play in everything. So my home league, which is the most important, we have DL, LB, D-back. I just went and picked up Devin White. I had to drop Laitu Latu. I do want to say a shout out to Laitu Latu's grandmother, Sally, who's my ticket agent at the Sacramento International Airport at the Alaska desk when I go check in and stuff. Yeah, shout out Sally. But no, I play in so many leagues, and a lot of them happen to use IDP. Some of them are 2 at each position. I've played in ones that were like all 22, like across the board defense. So it's a smaller portion of the leagues that I play in because not a lot of people play IDP. Mace, Mason Riney, who commented at the very top of the show, he's one of the guys that got me into IDP.
Awesome.
And so it varies. I'm trying to think. All right, this one. No, I was wrong. This one. D-line, linebacker, D-back. So multiple positions. And it's such a fun element. The other thing is that it's easy to be good at IDP because people like splash plays.
Yes.
So they're hunting D-backs when you want solid floors. So you want high tackle defensive linemen, you want linebackers who are going to be get into the 140, 150 tackles a year range. So it's easy to like set a floor and be successful than it is to kind of hunt splash plays. I remember the kid from Seattle, the cornerback from Seattle a couple of years ago, his rookie season had like 4 or 5 interceptions, and everybody went crazy for him. And it was like, yeah, but he's only the games that he's not doing that. He's not tackling anybody. So he's putting 0 points in your lineup. So D-back, you want to go safeties because they're getting tackles. And then linebackers, you just fill up on linebackers.
Yeah. And, volume is key. So you got to look at those snaps. That's the big thing right there. Elite defensive linemen, volume-based linebackers, you're going to be in most fights out there. Logan had a question. He wanted to know Overshown of the Cowboys. Is he droppable?
I don't think so. Like, isn't he just coming back?
So
Wouldn't
he's
you
just
want to
coming.
start playing him now? So if you held him this long, why would you drop him now?
So the argument is there's like a weird rotation going on. Like everybody's getting like 40% snaps, whatnot. But when you real peel back the onion, Overshown's getting ramped up, much like Dean. He went from 52 to 59. Went to 70% snaps last week. He's about to be in every down soon enough. It's going to be him. And Logan Wilson is just learning the playbook, so give him a little time. But, yeah, DeMarvio and Overshown is the only one right there that I actually will consider holding. So, yeah, please don't drop him. Paul's asking about Ivan Pace. Yeah, something about the NFL. They just don't care about these unrestricted or these undrafted free agent linebackers, whatever. So, yeah, you can drop him because it's Wilson in that role. It pains me to say that. Moving on to I have 2 more questions and I'll get off the mic here. I failed to mention this earlier because we're talking a lot about linebackers. I got another defensive lineman. He's only owned in 9% of leagues. So we're looking at redraft with Dallas Turner of the Vikings. Because in Dynasty, he's more likely to have been drafted. So look for your deeper formats. Let's say a 12-team or bigger, 2 or 3 DLs. You can probably get away with Turner. I mean, this is all predicated on injuries, and is his role a bit uncertain? That's why he's not owned a lot of places. Well, I feel good about him as a high-end prospect because 2 of the last 3 games, Turner's had 70% of snaps or greater. He's been on a tear. He's got, 4 sacks within those 3 games. He's got some really good matchups going into the playoffs, and that's what we're looking at. So week 16, he draws the Giants, who allowed the second most tackles in the league to defensive linemen. Now, you know what's funny? We always want to chase the sack. Getting the tackles is just good enough too. So I wanted to throw that in there per PFF. He also gets matchups in week 14 against the Washington Commanders, which are ranked 3rd. Week 15 versus Dallas. And then week 17, he's got Detroit, which is ranked 14th. So all of this ranks to more exploitable offense. He's in the top tier grouping. So, yeah, you can get some Dallas Turner. Again, playoffs, I'm not really taking too many deep shots. You see Jamie ran away again, Biggs. So He ran away from us. I only got one more question, Jamie, so you got to hurry up. We had an epic fail
I'm here
question.
waiting.
We had an epic fail question about defensive backs, and this is a good one. Who should I keep here? You got to keep 2. Marcus Jones, Cole Bishop, Battle, Mika Fitzpatrick, keep 2. So Marcus Jones is the biggest question mark. This is that Family Guy episode with the package. It could be anything. What's the mystery? It could even be another box, however it's phrased. If you're in a special teams type of league, then I'm keeping Marcus Jones because he's a cheat code. If you're not in a special teams, I would not. It's just too flaky, a radical each week to start to keep a defensive back. Honestly, I stream these guys a whole lot, but if you're asking me to rank them, I'd go Cole Bishop, I'd go Battle, and Fitzpatrick. Look at the box share on him. He's not playing as many box snaps as you think. He's playing a lot more free, so just be careful. But all 3 of those guys can be top 25, in your leagues based on your scoring. So if you're in a 12-team league, Bishop and Battle's fine. If you only got to start one of them, I'd probably go Bishop, but you're not wrong with Battle. Those are my 2. Jones, the only way I'm keeping a CB in those DB required leagues is if I have special teams. You agree, Biggs? You got a different take on that? I'm wondering.
Are we there? Hello?
Yeah. Do you agree on that, though? I had it Bishop, Battle, Fitzpatrick, and Jones, depending if it's special teams play. Special teams play, then you got to bump Jones up. But I think if I was to pick one, it'd be Bishop. I was pick 2, be Bishop, Battle. Anybody, any other different takes on that?
I'm good with Battle. Yeah.
So from what I see, Bishop has been pretty solid. He had a string of weeks, 3 in a row, weeks 9 through 11, and where he kind of fell off and then didn't do so great against the Giants. He's got a bye week this week. But he put together some pretty solid double-digit weeks all in a row, and I think if he can get back into that mode, Cole Bishop did the same thing. He's got a bunch of double-digit weeks too. D-back is so hard. When I look for D-backs to pick up, I tend to rank them by tackles, the total number of tackles. And when I do that, those guys kind of fall out of the list. Minka's up there. I think he's 30th in tackles. Cole Bishop is 34th.
I'll tell you what, Biggs. Logan here in the chat, he's playing in some deep leagues, 32-team league. He's trying to start Jacob Martin here over Samson. Jacob Martin is nothing sexy about him. Nothing sexy about him. He's like Jamie on a first date. Nothing sexy about him, but he'll pay the bill, right? He'll pay the dinner bill, right? He got the check. 70% snap, 71, 79. He'll get you a tackle or 2. 32-team league, yeah, start him up. Why not? Samson, you never know what you're going to get. That's totally whatever. So, yeah, I'd do that. Hey, I'll tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to shut my mouth and let Jamie talk a little bit because he's dying to talk about some offense. He even put a little message in the chat to shut me up. Where are you going with this, Jamie?
Biggs, so we usually do streamers on this episode. We're getting away from that, but there is a streamer that I want to talk about this week, and it's Trevor Lawrence. I like him this week as a top 12 play. Most of this channel have known that I have been telling people to stream Jacoby Brissett all year long, the past 3-4 weeks, and it's worked out. But in my home league, I picked up Lawrence to play over Brissett this week. So, Biggs, I want to know, what do you think about Trevor Lawrence this week versus Indy?
He's not playing Indy, is he? Yes.
Yeah, he's playing Indy.
Yeah, never mind. Sorry, you're asking me all these questions that are my Thursday research day. Yes, it's a great matchup. It looks like it's the 3rd best matchup in the league.
Top 10, top 12,
top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to consider him, and he's out there on waivers. I picked him up.
Yeah,
and I
nobody has any faith in him, and Brian Thomas Jr. can't hold on to the ball, so he's likely available.
Yeah, and you have Jacoby Myers right now picking up
Myers is
the
a big
slack.
game changer.
Bretton Strange is getting a lot of targets. So I do like Trevor Lawrence this week, and I trust him more than Jacoby Brissett, who has been a top 12 the past few weeks. And
But he's
I'm
going
sitting
against the
him-
Rams.
Yeah, and I'm sitting him over Trevor Lawrence. So
Yeah, same as a matchup play. It's absolutely dead on.
love it.
Here's a
So
good one
let's
for you. How do you feel about the Steelers' backfield?
I hate it.
I do
I hate
too.
Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith is a football terrorist, and
Yes.
We should have started this. We should have started the show with this. I love this energy, Biggs.
You have the Podfather that has been all over Kenneth Gainwell as a top talent, and why the hell are you putting him on the back burner to Jalen Warren? Then when you actually get Gainwell in the game, he actually does way better.
I was
Jalen
on Gainwell 5 years ago when he was in
You
Philly,
were.
and they wouldn't give
Yes.
him the majority of the carries, and it drove me absolutely crazy
Yes.
to the point where I dropped him, and now he's finally like getting some run in Pittsburgh. And Warren was another one. Like we were arguing 3 years ago that Jalen Warren was the better running back in Pittsburgh. That wasn't even Arthur Smith dooming us. That was like 3 years ago. Get Najee Harris out of there. Give all of the carries to Jalen Warren. He's much more efficient. And the Steelers have there's something about the Steelers that I totally avoid. They have this idea of smash mouth football, and they like their bigger, stronger, slower guys to pound the rock rather than give the guy who is dynamic. Like, look what Devon Achane and Jahmyr Gibbs and James Cook bring to the table when they get 20 touches in a game. And Pittsburgh has guys who maybe aren't that level, but they still can like take the top off the defense. They still are good in pass plays. They're still good receiving the ball, and they're explosive. And Pittsburgh refuses to give them the kind of run that Detroit does with Gibbs or Miami does with Achane. It's crazy.
And it's funny that you mentioned slower, bigger guys, because they have a guy in the roster they just drafted named Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
And his best comparable player on Player Profiler is Le'Veon Bell, who is a former Steeler player. So what is your take on Caleb Johnson in Dynasty going forward? Are they going to give this slower, big-bodied guy some more carries next year over these faster pass-catching guys they have playing above him?
I thought when they drafted Caleb Johnson and they moved on from Najee Harris, that was a big sign that Caleb Johnson was going to be the bell cow in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
You talked earlier about Scott Fishbowl. One of the biggest things that I did in the Scott Fishbowl is I drafted Najee Harris and Caleb Johnson in back-to-back rounds, and that absolutely sunk my season because Najee, as we know, went on the IR. Caleb Johnson hasn't done a thing in Pittsburgh. Caleb Johnson faced the most loaded boxes in all of college football last year. Ashton Genty was second, and Caleb Johnson ran off like a career year. The most loaded boxes for that Iowa team. I mean, we know he can do it. They just haven't given him the ball at all. I don't understand what to do with Pittsburgh, so I stay away from it. If I have any shares, it's Jalen Warren, and I just kind of start him wherever I can, but I tend to stay away from it.
So speaking of running backs, if you're going into the playoff hunt right now, you should be going after these handcuffs off waivers. I think you need to drop that extra bench wide receiver that you're stashing at the end of your roster that is never going to hit your lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Even grab like other teams' handcuffs, not just your own, that can block other teams or also give you an extra starter if that main guy goes down. For example, like Corum is the top handcuff right now to go after. He should be on your roster. Keaton Mitchell is interesting. Ray Davis, Nick Chubb, Tank Bigsby. But Biggs, who are some of the running back handcuffs that you like and are actually willing to roster, even if you don't have that starter?
So the three big ones for me are should be the big ones for everybody: Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Algier, and then I'm looking at Emmanuel Wilson.
Yes.
I know that I have Josh Jacobs in just about every important situation that I have, and I've watched him his entire career, and the kid plays regardless. He can be hurt. He always plays banged up. There's always something wrong with him, so he's questionable every week. But they did go overly cautious with him and put him and let him sit a week, and that disturbed me. It shows me that maybe the Packers, if something happens to Jacobs, are going to do that again. And Emmanuel Wilson was just fine in that role. So I like him a lot. Devin Neal, I like in New Orleans.
Well, he's a solidified starter right now. You should have already had him. We talked about him 3 weeks ago, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying to own him for most of the season.
Yes.
And then Audric Estime. That's one that a lot of people don't really think about.
Yeah, I didn't even think of him.
If something actually happens to Devin Neal, Audric Estime is just kind of sitting there in New Orleans, not playing, but he could be given a shot.
I like stashing him when he was on Denver. He was one of my dynasty stashes.
Yeah.
And now that he actually has like a clear path to touches as the number 2.
And then you have your Hail Marys. My two big ones are Taj Brooks in Cincinnati and DJ Giddens in Indy. If something were to happen to Jonathan Taylor and Chase Brown, I think those two guys could step in pretty quick. And then Will Shipley.
Shipley is awesome, yes. So going off Giddens, Steve, did I not tell you what was it, 10 weeks ago that you need to get Giddens?
You did.
I did, yes. So that's a great one right now. You need to listen to BigZ and go get Giddens on your roster. He's a guy that I didn't even think of right now, but I was thinking of him 10 weeks ago.
Hey, I just want to derail the show real quick here. You guys are talking about rankings and tiers. BigZ sent me this a while ago. This has to be one of the greatest texts of all time. I'm a little modest. I don't think I should be in here, but what do you guys think, audience? The top 5 hunters of our time. Top 5 hunters. Hunter Renfro, okay. Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter K-Pop Demon. I got a lot. BigZ, that was hysterical. I'd actually looked that up because I had no clue what a K-Pop Demon was.
My 6-year-old watches that.
And then Hunter Pence. That's a strong list. What do you guys think? I'm sorry. I know you guys are on a roll. I had to get that in because I don't know when I'm going to see BigZ again. That was one hell of a text. I mean,
there's another hunter that you need to put on this list.
That'd be 6, though. Then I'd be off.
He went. No, I would put him behind you because this guy went after Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 80s. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Hunters. The Hunters.
Oh, the Predator?
The Predators are the most amazing hunters. I would actually put them number 1. And then IDP Hunter would be number 2.
It's not hard to derail Jamie. He was on such a roll. You got a bunch of wide receiver questions in here, too. Did you answer the Pittman ETN and the Dak?
So for this, I would actually go ETN.
Okay.
Honestly. What about you, BigZ?
I got bit by both of them last week. God. Yeah, I'm going Pittman.
Oh, I'm gonna go ETN. Let's fight over this.
Like I said, I like wide receivers, especially ones who are going to get the lion's share of the offense. ETN is in a split backfield. I love his explosiveness. He's one of my primary running backs in my home league. But I also need a lot out of Pittman too. So my home league, I have both of them starting.
All right. So this question is so freaking easy. Dak or Darnold? Dak is a top 3 to me. You can't sit Dak, especially over a guy named Darnold, who's outside my top 15. I mean, come on, man. Play a top 5 over a guy that's going to be 15.
They both have the exact same Vegas implied point totals at 26.
That's insane to me.
And the Cowboys have a better matchup.
I'm going to go to Player Profiler right now, and I'm going to see what they say.
I'm going Dak.
Dak, number 2 on playerprofiler.com. Go get their all-in package. You get everything. Analysis, rankings, DFS. Dak is number 2. Darnold's 19. So would you rather start the number 2 guy or the 19th guy?
Well, I would rather start the number 2 guy. The thing about it is that Dallas's matchup in the passing game is better than Seattle's, and Seattle has a superior running game matchup. So we're leaning heavy in DFS on Walker and Charbonnet, but we're throwing the ball to Ferguson and Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. So yeah, I like that one.
All right, awesome. So I want to move on to wide receivers because I'm not sure if you noticed the wide receiver trend this season. Everyone outside of the top 12 to 15 wide receivers have actually been scoring lower than normal over the past 10 years. I got this stat from JJ Zachariason, and I think he even went back to 2011, which is what, 20? I don't even know. I can't do math right now. But it's because the NFL, are they going more towards runs, or are they incorporating tight ends more and using them more effectively? So at this point, we should be set at wide receiver. There's not many that you can actually go pick up. I mean, if Godwin's on your waiver, Alec Pierce, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, we've been saying these names over and over again. Tesla, we just mentioned earlier. But BigZ, like, how comfortable are you picking up like a starting wide receiver on the waiver right now? Like
So
a Jaden Higgins.
I love Jaden Higgins, and I will own Jaden Higgins everywhere. Here's the thing. We have a culture with YouTube and the advent of the videos where it's one-on-ones. Guys are going out and they're learning route running in 7-on-7 flag football when they're in the single-digit ages. So you have this over the last few years, this trend of just unimaginable wide receiver talent coming out of college football. On top of that, you have these guys who are 6'5", 240 pounds that move like a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
We had a class of like 6 or 7 high-value tight ends that came out this year, on top of the Brock Bowers, Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, the guys that had already been here. And then you see this trend of the running backs that we were talking about earlier, Devon Achane, James Cook, Ashton Genty is good in the receiving game. Kyle Monangai can catch the ball. Blake Corum can catch the ball. So what you're seeing is the ball being spread around to there's more capable wide receivers when you're lining up in a 3 wide receiver set. You also have 11 and 12 personnel with athletic tight ends that can catch the ball. And then you have a dump off option with an athletic receiving capable running back. So targets get spread out. That leads to fewer points across the board for wide receivers, and it increases everywhere else. So the only counterpoint to that is that your opponent is going through the same thing.
If I may, BigZ, that's a good point. Another trend we're seeing on the defensive side of the ball, all these rookies that are defenders, like elite defenders, like Xavier Watts, they were offensive guys before that. Like when Xavier Watts went to Notre Dame, he was a top tight end, what have you. So we're seeing a lot of athletic 260-pound guys that can run 4.40s, 4.5s because they used to be former running backs, which is a scary but awesome time for a fan. We had a question in the chat about DB dart throws, and there's several. I'm going to give you a guy, Fantasy Pros DB 84 last week when I did this. It's only one player, Jamie, so you can hang out with us. The player's name is Kevin Winston Jr. What's cool about him, when we did the profile over there at the Fancy Six Pack, we did over 200 rookie IDP profiles. So he's on my thoughts. He went to Penn State. What's cool about him, he never missed a tackle in college. I don't know. That's pretty hard to do. Never missed a tackle at all. He's just been a great box guy, defender type. So I like Kevin Winston Jr. more than majority. Here's what's neat about him. Plays for the Titans. He's got 100% of snaps every down roll for 3 weeks in a row. 8 tackles this week and a sack, and in 10 the week before. But here's what's neat. He came in because Xavier Woods got hurt. Last week, what we just had, Xavier Woods was fully healthy, and this guy still kept his role. So sign me up for that. If you're in leagues deep enough, you can go ahead and do that. Jamie's in the chat. Jamie's like a double agent. He's off here, but he's in the chat. He said, yeah, I did DB profiles for Thanksgiving. He did the CB profiles. He did, and he did a good job on it. Here's an offensive question if you guys are ready for it. Epic's asking bench stashes in PPR. Who you stashing? This is a tough time of year to stash. You stashing Allen, Mongoy, or Singletary?
I think I'd drop Singletary. Monangai has shown over the last month that like he is legit. Keenan Allen has dropped off, but
I'm going to disagree. So I did mention earlier that you want these running backs, even the backups, the guy that's getting the majority or half of the snaps. And Monangai, I hate the guy because he's not my guy. He fucked over Roshan, but he's still getting a lot of the snaps. Singletary is the guy right now with Tracy out. Keenan Allen, man, I can't even trust him with Trey Lance throwing him the ball.
I forgot that you had said that, so I'm changing my answer to California Golden Bear legend Keenan Allen.
Yeah, let's drop him because you don't need these wide receivers that aren't going to hit your lineup. They're bench players. Give me the running back. Like we talked about earlier.
Side note, Biggs, I love when Jamie holds that little blue, whatever he has, that little tablet. It reminds me of one of the coaches on the sidelines, you know, when they throw their little tablets.
Well, we all have our little thing that we need to reference.
Somebody a couple weeks ago said he's the Chris Berman of the chat. I love your hot takes and your introductions, Jamie, when you get going.
I love it. So let's move on. So lastly, we have tight ends. We all love grabbing tight ends, especially me at the strip club. Tight end streaming, man, it has been so fun all year long. And they've been giving us a lot of points off the waivers. Like guys like Juwan Johnson, Lorande Gaston, even K-Dot and Dalton Schultz. AJ Barner's got us some points. Just to name a few, but like rest of the season, Biggs, I want to know, would you rather have a Brenton Strange, who is interesting because he's getting a lot more usage and he has a nice upcoming schedule, or a Darren Waller, who is also coming off injury, and he could be a league-winning guy with massive upside with his easy schedule in the playoffs. So who are some of your favorite tight end streamers that you got off waivers this season? But most importantly, between Strange and Waller, who would you prefer the rest of the season?
I prefer Strange. I've been bit by Waller too many times. The guy can't stay on the field. He deals with old man soft tissue injuries. And when you become an old man and you have a soft tissue injury, it becomes perfectly clear that those soft tissue injuries don't go away. Yeah. Some of my favorite guys that I've gotten off waivers, Juwan Johnson, of course. I've always been a huge Hunter Henry guy, so to see him as tight end 6 right now is pretty cool.
Well, I don't even consider him a streamer because he was owned on almost all my teams from the beginning.
Right. Theo Johnson is he's the guy that has a huge advantage into the playoffs. Washington, Minnesota give up a lot of points to tight ends. He's got Las Vegas in the championship, who they don't get burned by a lot of tight ends, but they haven't really played a whole lot of like high level tight ends. And Fannin did okay against them. And then AJ Barner, gotta love him.
I just want to give a shout out to Grindberg because Theo Johnson is the most athletic tight end. And I call him the catching Canadian. So I just want to give an homage to our fellow Canadian, Mike Grindberg.
Yeah. And then AJ Barner has Indy, the Rams, and Carolina. He had 17 points against the Rams in week 11. And Indy and Carolina are two of the best matchups for tight ends. So if AJ Barner is out there, go grab him.
We have a question. Strange versus Ertz. This is easy to me. Get me Strange.
Look at the disgust on Jamie's face.
Because I think he could be a top 10. Like this week, I have him as a top 7 tight end. But rest of the season, I don't think it's a question that you can't put Strange outside of that top 5, top 6, top 7. But Ertz, I do agree. I like him as a top 10 guy. But if you're nitpicking, give me Strange.
Yeah.
It's a top 5 over Ertz as a top 10.
In the last 5 games that Strange has played, he's had double-digit points in all of them.
There you go.
And I do love Zach Ertz with Jaden Daniels coming back. But Strange has a higher floor.
Yes. Love it. Especially with the targets that he's getting, because you saw what he did in the beginning of the season before he got injured.
Yeah.
He was getting those targets, and he jumped right back into that. And it didn't skip a beat. He's still getting those targets. And now with BTJ having his psychological issues with his best friend.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. So, yeah, I'm going Strange all the way. We have another one. Goddard versus the Chargers or Ertz versus the Vikings. I don't see how you can sit Goddard, man. Goddard, to me, is like a top 10 guy.
Strong numbers. Yeah.
Goddard the last 4 weeks, 8 points, 4 points, 4 points, 4 points. I'm going Ertz.
Oh, Ertz to me is more like top 15.
Yeah.
So I'm putting Ertz at like 15, 16, 17. But Goddard's in my top 10 this week. So going weekly,
targets
just this week.
Targets in his last 6 games for Goddard. 3, 3, 6, 5, 2, 4. I'm going Ertz.
Yeah. Maybe.
It's a tough one, man. Jeez, man. I'm going to have to say go with BigZ on this one.
Yeah.
Because he's a smarter guy than I am. So
I think that's all the questions in the chat. I just want to point out you guys' background, the disparity. BigZ, it's daytime, and in your background, it's nighttime. By the time this podcast is over, it might switch around. So I think we're done with the questions, guys, in the chat. You guys want to tell the audience what you're working on and, maybe what you're getting for Christmas this year? I don't know.
So what I'm getting for Christmas is Chris's smoked pickles.
Oh, there you go.
Go get them, baby. Go to Facebook, put hashtag BigZ and Chris's smoked pickles. And I'm telling you, dude, they are so delicious. I put in like a $70 order and they're almost gone. And yeah. I'm using the juice to my advantage because there's so much juice left. I actually boiled up some eggs and I put the eggs in the pickle juice just to get some pickled egg flavor, and I love it, man.
Use that. Did you get the habanero one?
I did. I got a habanero. I got a jalapeno, and I love the original smoked Chris's pickles. I got the big bag on that one.
Mix the juice with gin.
Yes.
3 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of pickle juice, 1.5 ounces of pickle juice, and then shake it up. And it's the best dirty martini you've ever had.
I also ended up getting his meat and cheese blend. I love it. It was so good. Once you put it in your mouth, you don't want it to leave. Then he has a trail mix that is so amazing. I've never had trail mix this goddamn good at Chris's Smoked Pickles.
It's amazing.
He's from Alaska. He lives in Alaska. He smokes. It's a small business. So if you love supporting small businesses,
you're selling it.
Support Chris's Smoked Pickles. Go to Facebook. You can even call him personally and leave him a message. But make sure you put #BigZ.
So here's the story. So my partner of 15 years works in a mine in the Arctic Circle in Alaska. And this guy, Chris, lives up in Big Lake, Alaska. It's in the Matanuska Valley. He smokes pickles, meats, cheeses. He makes the trail mix that Jamie was talking about.
Yes.
And so my girlfriend would get the stuff from him and bring it back. And I was like, these are the most incredible. I'm a whore for pickles. And these are the best pickles I've ever had. And then I started making dirty martinis with the pickle juice.
Ooh.
And it's absolutely crazy. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, Chris, I have a bunch of podcasts. I'm going to make a commercial and start sending customers your way. And, so he's now my sponsor. So if you want smoked pickles, smoked meats, cheeses, whatever, you have to go to Facebook, type in Chris's Smoked Pickles. It used to be called Rollin' Smoke in the 907. That's the Alaska area code. But he's changed the name of the business to Chris's Smoked Pickles. Find him on Facebook. Send him a message by messenger. You can call him.
Give him a number.
I don't have it on hand. It's in my studio.
We'll throw it in the chat.
But it should be on that bag right there.
Speaking of the chat, look at what Jorge wrote.
What's up, Jorge? So cop yourself some pickles. They're incredible. Tell him BigZ sent you. He should throw something for free into the bag. He didn't for Jamie, apparently.
I'm not disappointed because
I wouldn't for Jamie either.
Good.
And if you watch my show Breakfast with BigZ, 8:30 a.m. on Sunday mornings, it's 8:30 a.m. West Coast time. I run the commercial, which does have his phone number. That'll give you a little reminder. Go to FSAN on YouTube and subscribe. FSAN, we're doing a ton of stuff. So every Tuesday in season, Mike and I drop our waiver wire pickup and weekend recap show for Fantasy Forecast. And then Thursday night on the FSAN channel and on YouTube, we do Points After Thursday, which as soon as the clock hits 0 on the Thursday night game, we go live and do starts and sits questions. The next day, we have 2 shows that drop. The Dynasty Pulse is a multi-host panel show.
That's a must.
We talk Dynasty. We've been talking Devi the last couple weeks with College Sharps. And then also the Fantasy Forecast Sits show drops on Friday. The Fantasy Forecast Starts show drops on Saturday. And then Breakfast with BigZ, 8:30 West Coast, 11:30 East Coast. That's on FSAN. And that's just me answering starts and sits questions. And then every week I create a new cocktail and I shake it up on the show. Something appropriate for breakfast or brunch or whatever. This season, the one that has hit the hardest was the chocolate eggnog. So you have to go out and you get Crown Royal chocolate whiskey, some kind of sweet brandy, and then you mix that 1.5 ounces each with 3 ounces of chocolate milk. Put in 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. You're going to dry shake an egg. So crack the egg into the shaker and shake it for about 15 seconds. Then you pour in the whiskey, shake the egg again. That kind of kills off anything that might be lingering in that egg. Then you add all the ingredients and the ice, shake that up, pour it in your glass, and it's chocolate eggnog, and it's absolutely insane. I just came up with it off the top of my head, threw it together on the show, and I spent 10 minutes on the show going, oh my God, this is incredible. I can't even believe this. So go watch the back episodes of Breakfast with BigZ, find those cocktail recipes and stuff like that, doing a lot of that. And then on the Undroppables, probably my favorite community in all of the fantasy space. Shout out to Jax and Travis and Joe and Greinberg and Chalk and all the guys, Marcus. That's where my Raider show is on Uncovered_NFL. We are looking for content creators for every single NFL team. We have a bunch taken care of. I do the Raiders. Mike does the Chiefs. We got the Vikings. We got the Cowboys. We got the Jaguars. We want all teams. So if you want to do your own show, we've got that for you.
And this is why I call this guy the breakfast behemoth, because he gives you the best breakfast choices. It's no food involved, just alcohol.
Dude, I'll tell you what, that the last 14 minutes, we've gotten so many. I mean, we had probably about 50, 40 comments in the chat. We got so many comments on smoked pickles and whoring for pickles.
But
and
I'm
oh my
telling
God,
you,
smoked pickles.
you need to go
BigZ
watch.
at a party is what
Go
it is.
watch.
BigZ is a good time.
BigZ is awesome. Everything that he does, especially on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. FSN. I'm telling you, they are amazing. I even was so infatuated by them that I created a song, and they use my songs in their shorts. So go to the Fantasy Sports Advice Networks and watch their shorts. Listen to the background, because you will hear my songs that I created for this gentleman right here, because I have so much love for him.
I just remembered I do have the number. Send this guy a text.
Yes. Chris's Smoked Pickles. Call him. Send him a text.
JT Brew says it's a pickle party.
Yes.
I don't know if I feel comfortable with JT Brew telling me that, but
and like I said, I actually have so much juice in this that I boiled eggs, and I have pickled eggs.
So get the banner back up that with my name on it and stuff.
What was it? Did I have Jamie? Did you have something?
No, take off JT's comment real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know where it was. Okay.
There it is.
Go,
okay.
Right there.
For pickles, it's 907-723-5034. Send them a text. Say, hey, I would like to order some pickles. And everybody
tell them that you got it from BigZ. Hashtag BigZ. But also put in hashtag Jamie, because he knows I ordered from him, and I gave him such a great review. He'll send you a sticker or a hat, whatever it is extra. I didn't get it. Tell him to send you two, because tell him to send you mine. I don't want mine. I just want these pickles in my mouth.
I don't have the hat here, but it says pickle slut on it.
Hey, I know we went a little bit longer this episode, but I could not think of a better guest to end the year with BigZ.
This is the last episode of the year.
I'm tired.
I'm burned, or go home.
I'm tired. I'm burned out. I'm gonna. What's gonna happen with the show? Just let you know where I'm gonna go. Probably next month or two around Super Bowl, I ramp back up. I start talking college profiles, rookie profiles, how that stuff translates, and we go into the show. Jamie usually does a lot of Dynasty. I'll play into that too, and then we'll start doing evergreen content. But we're gonna ramp up again. But we all need our breaks. If you guys want to see me personally, I'll be down to Senior Bowl. I'm scout accredited. I'll be down there the whole week as well. But I'll be back with a lot more content, guys. Like I said, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for listening. Jamie, I know you like to end the show with something funny. Can I request, whatever you're going to do to end the show, so be it. But can I request the cool guys and their girlfriends, the whole fantasy take that you had a couple weeks ago? That's my favorite ending show. Can I have that one from you?
I might have been drunk because I don't know what you're talking about. But
cool
I do want to say,
girls want guys who win their leagues. You don't remember that?
So, motherfuckers, you have to go win your league, because nobody likes a loser. If you're going to go out there and try to get a date from a girl at a bar, all you have to do is flex your fantasy leagues, because you be like, hey, baby, I'm 14, and come home with me. And they're going to be like, yeah. Oh, I want this guy because he's got so much fantasy knowledge.
But they don't want you if you lose your league, right?
Nobody likes a loser. No one's going to go home with the guy that's like 3-12. I don't think so. But all I want to say is epic fail. Yeah, you text a guy that you want pickles in the mouth because all these girls out there, they want pickles in their mouth.
I tell you what,
the right number though.
If we remember back to the replacement refs, and we had the game on Monday night that was the Packers and Seattle. We had that Hail Mary to the end zone for the Packers, I think Seattle threw it, and it was the Packers defense or Seattle's defense and the Packers threw it anyway. And it was a controversial call. They gave the call the touchdown. Yeah. So it was Packers were on defense. Seattle threw a Hail Mary. They came down with the ball. It should have been an interception, but the replacement refs gave it to Seattle. And that week I was playing the Green Bay defense and I lost my matchup by 0.25 points. And I remember I was sitting in a pizza place in Eagle River, Alaska, watching the game with my girlfriend, and she almost left me because I lost that week. So win your leagues.
That's what I'm saying, man. Girls don't want losers.
But we've been together ever since. So
that's awesome. So I gotta tell all you guys, if you are interested in winning dynasty leagues, keep following BigZ at Big Boned FFB on X. Check all his stuff out at the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. We're going to have him on this offseason 100% because me and you, BigZ, we need to talk dynasty because you're the reason that I own Jackson Dart. You're the reason I own a bunch of Gadsden. You're the reason that I win so many of my leagues. It's you. It's not me. I get my information from you. So why don't we get it straight from the mouth?
Well, I didn't know that Steve goes to Mobile every year. So I'm going to be there again this year. I went last year.
I'm going to be there too.
So what I'm thinking is maybe an Airbnb and we pod from the living room.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
On this network, we can put it on your network and Steve's network.
Yeah. Just let's put that together and we can do live shows from the Senior Bowl. Because that was like some of the biggest hits that I had this year was because I was down there. Jaden Higgins, big second half. Jackson Dart being my QB1 of the class. Bashal Tootin. Like
Tootin was my guy
Tyler
because
Shuck.
of you.
Tyler Shuck. Like we drafted Tyler Shuck in the 4th round in our rookie draft. Yeah. And the week that we absolutely had to have him because of buys, that's the first week that he started, and he's been double-digit quarterback.
I do want to give you a little bit of criticism because I did watch every single one of your videos. You do need a better camera because some of the stuff that I watched, I mean, you were trying to show the background with you talking, and you did do a bunch of good interviews, but we need to see more of the field and what's going on.
I got better cameras.
Okay, so let's end on a high note. I also like BigZ because he's the pickle king of Chicago. Remember Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Was the sausage king of Chicago? He's the pickle king of Chicago, everybody. I mean, that got like 5 or 6 comments in the chat going. But yeah, we'll have to team up. That sounds like a plan. Let's end the show on a good note. Talk hard, everybody. Take care.